'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, with gore and guts and lots of blood splatter. "Give us all your money," the violent intruders clamor, but then Santa Claus f***s them all up with a sledgehammer. Okay, I'm done. Here's my review of Violent Night. Directed by Tommy Wirkola and starring David Harbour, Violent Night is an action movie mixed with a lot of dark comedy. It unapologetically uses many elements of Die Hard and Home Alone, and even name drops these movies on several occasions. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, as the movie knows exactly what it wants to be. But despite a lot of standout moments, Violent Night was a mixed bag for me, and it didn't quite hit the mark like I hoped it would. I'll start with what I liked about the movie. David Harbour is probably the best casting choice they could have gotten for Santa Claus. He has a great mixture of likability and badassery, and in this film, demonstrates exactly what his character in Black Widow should have been. He also does possibly the most perfect Santa Claus laugh I've ever heard. He plays a jaded version of Santa Claus, who's fed up with humanity's greed and Christmas as a whole. When a rich family's home is invaded by violent robbers, Santa realizes that one of the hostages is a little girl named Trudy, who is on his nice list and can communicate with him through a walkie-talkie. The back and forth between Santa and Trudy is funny and at times even sweet. She helps him realize that Christmas is worth saving and that there's still purity and goodness in the world. While Santa channels John McClane, Trudy channels Macaulay Culkin. It was set up early in the movie that she had just watched Home Alone for the first time, so she sets up some traps for the robbers. But instead of the PG slapstick from Home Alone, we get some R-rated violence, all while Trudy joyfully giggles the whole time. The Home Alone scene was a small part of the movie, but for me, it was the best and the most hilarious part. It honestly made me want to see a full movie version of this. Maybe we'll get a spin-off someday. For all of this movie's standout moments, Violent Night also has a lot of problems. With the exception of Harbour, the overall acting isn't that great. While it's not quite Tommy Wiseau bad, it got a little too close to that point for me. Almost every character in this movie is incredibly unlikable, and while that seemed intentional, it's still hard to find anyone to pull for here. The Lightstone family as a whole is just horrendous, but the movie wants us to warm up to them by the end, despite them not having really earned it in my opinion. Jason Lightstone, Trudy's father, is an absolute wimp and has to be saved by his wife and daughter several times in the movie. Hollywood really doesn't like portraying strong fathers these days, do they? John Leguizamo hams it up as our lead baddie, and admittedly does have some funny lines and moments, but I just can't take him that seriously as an intimidating threat. They pin him up in a brawl against Santa at the end, and I'm sorry, but you're not going to get me to believe that John Leguizamo could take on David Harbour in a fight. The real action also takes quite a bit of time to get going. The first hour or so features a lot of Santa just kind of stumbling around, getting captured, escaping. He does get his big action scenes in the third act, and while I get that gaining his confidence to fight is part of his character arc, I just wish it would have happened a little sooner. Some of his fight scenes are okay, and he does have a couple of creative kills, particularly one involving a chimney. That one was pretty gruesome. But most of the fights are Santa basically just using whatever he happens to find in the room and hitting people with it. I would have liked to have seen some more creative and supernatural powers given to Santa, as he mostly just fights like a regular guy through most of the movie. There are also some moments that made me want to yell, "Come on!" The Lightstone house is supposed to be the most secure private residence in the country, yet they apparently never searched the caterers for weapons. As for the caterers, who turned out to be the robbers, they're skilled enough to take out an entire security squad, but when they're holding down hostages with machine guns, they don't think to stop Trudy as she's openly talking to Santa on her walkie-talkie in front of everybody. The robbers also conveniently get distracted on a number of occasions, allowing both Trudy and Santa to evade them. I know I shouldn't be taking a movie like this too seriously, but those were just some things that bothered me. Like I said before, for all this movie's faults, it still has a lot of standout moments like the Home Alone homage, and David Harbour's performance was a lot of fun to watch. Violent Night definitely isn't for everyone, but if you want to turn off your brain for a bit, see some gnarly action, and have a few laughs, this one might be for you. Let me know what you think in the comments, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. I hope you all have a good one.